I was able to put about 5 hours into the Bug Strike Back public test server for Grounded, and I want to take a few minutes to give my first impressions. Before we begin, I want to thank all my channel members for helping make videos like this possible. You can support the channel for as little as $2 by clicking the join button below or the link in the description. Let's get started. So what I want to do in this video is I want to quickly skim through the patch notes, hitting the high points and the things I think are important, as well as touch on how I experienced those in my 5 hours of playing on stream last night. And we're going to start off with the new feature. So first up is going to be the new feature called Faction Reactivity. This basically means that if you kill a specific number of a type of bug, they will end up coming after you. Now, as of now, I'm not exactly sure how they decide to come after you. I'm not sure because they randomly just attacked me. I did not have my respawn point set on the base that they attacked. So I'm not sure if I think they basically just come after me. So what I did was I went to the red anthill, did not go inside of it. I was just outside of it. And I basically just killed all the red worker ants and all the red soldier ants that were outside of there. I killed more than 50 ants. And then when I went back to my base, I was minding my business, putting stuff in the chest, and all of a sudden this music started playing, and a message popped up, something along the lines of I can't remember if it said the ants are coming or something, but basically it was telling me the raid was about to happen. So I went outside, looked off into the grasslands, and lo and behold, here came a bunch of red worker ants and soldier ants. Now, fortunately, the base I was in is completely surrounded by a half wall of mushroom bricks, so I didn't take any real damage. They did some structural damage. I did have to do a lot of repairing, but they didn't really destroy anything. And it was pretty easy to kill them. I just sat back with the crow crossbow and picked them off one by one. It was pretty interesting. I did like the fact that that happened. I will say that my first thought was probably a little bit too easy, although maybe I was just lucky the fact that my base was pretty much surrounded by a mushroom fence of some sort. So I'm gonna have to test it out against other bugs. It doesn't look like, or from what I've heard, now I can't confirm this or deny this because I haven't tested it myself. I was told by someone that they think that the only bugs that will raid your base are gonna be red ants, black ants, bees, mosquitoes, infected insects, and orb weavers. That's what I was told. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I do have to test it out myself and see, but that will be interesting. Like I would say right now, I think if I got attacked by a bunch of orb weavers, I would probably get wrecked. So the ants were probably easy. It was the first level of raid, so not like I said, it's cool for that. It was cool, so I liked it. Next up is going to be wafters or wafters. Basically, when you craft these, it attracts bugs. I tested this out in a custom game mode while my main game mode was updating. It didn't really do anything, so I'm not sure. I have to do some more experimenting with this. This looks like it's kind of like a better lore trap, so it could be a good way of farming different resources. So I'm definitely going to play with those over the next couple of days. Next up is mixers. This is probably going to be the one that's the most... This mixers for me are the best thing added in this update, but also super frustrating. Now, I did one mixer. I did the one that's in the grasslands. It's over by just to the west of the red anthill in the grassy area between the red anthill and basically where the bombardier beetles spawn over by the Frankenline or somewhere over in that way. And basically what happened was I started it up. I didn't build anything around it, and I started getting attacked by red worker ants, red soldier ants. Then there were some lawn mites, for some reason, infected weevils came. That was all the bugs that came. There were multiple waves, and I was able to survive. I did take some damage because they were just overwhelming. Plus, the infected weevils, if they exploded, they did a decent amount of damage. I did take a good chunk of damage. I had to heal myself a bunch of times, but I was able to successfully complete it, and I did like it. I probably would say for the few other ones, I'm sure the other ones are going to have stronger bugs around it, so I'm probably going to build for those. But the one thing that I would like to see, and the reward for it was raw science, to be completely honest, I guess early on, raw science would make sense. But at this point in the game, where many of us are, I started off the public test server today with about 34,000 raw science. And because we'll get to this later, you're going to have to go back and do a lot of stuff that you've done before already. You're going to end up getting tons more raw science. The raw science reward for it, for me, was it's just going to go in the pile because I've already purchased everything. So the one thing I would like to see, and I'm going to probably touch base on this a little bit later. I'll probably touch base on this later. So I want them to be repeatable. As of right now, they do not look like they're repeatable. I'll talk more about that at the end. Actually, let's just talk about it right now and get it out of the way. If the mixers were repeatable, I would give this update probably one of the higher. I would say it's probably either the best or the second best update behind the Hot and Hazy update. While there's not any, we'll get to this, there's not any new biomes, or they did some terraforming on the map. There's no new biomes that are populated with bugs. There's no new bugs or weapons or armors and stuff like that. The mixers alone, adding the tower defense, at least for me, and I know a lot of people were not, they don't really care about it, but for me, that's awesome. And the way I would go about doing it, and I might do a whole video on this, we'll see what happens during the public test server, whether or not they change it. I want them at the very least to be repeatable. I would like to see them have either a way of increasing the difficulty for them, or perhaps they just have maybe 10 levels or 20. I mean, the more levels they have, the better. But like maybe the one that I experienced today will be level 1, and then I can go back and either start it back up and get level 2 and just keep going, or choose my levels. I don't care I don't care how it's done. I'd be perfectly fine with just using, honestly, if using raw science to restart it up again, and maybe just have it give different rewards. I don't think raw science is the best reward. Maybe the first time it's okay, but like after that, to me, it would be better like right now, and we'll get this a little bit later. Like I'd rather be getting grub hide or grub leather or berry leather and stuff like that to upgrade my armor, or the resources to upgrade, like the globs and the jewels to upgrade my weapons. That'd be much more valuable to me than just complete getting raw science. So if the mixers were repeatable, I want the mixers to be repeatable. That's my number one feedback on this is I love the fact that the mixers were added. I just want to be able to play them over and over again, because having 5 mixers and you can only do them one time kind of defeats the purpose of them, because once you do them, it's kind of like, it's like you're never going to do them again. To me, the mixers could be something that could be replayable, at least for players like me that like the tower defense aspect of survival games. Myself, if I could repeat them and they had different tiers or different difficulties, or you could just make custom versions or something like that, I would literally just sit there and play them all day. It would keep me occupied until the next update. It will keep me occupied for months on end. So I want mixers to be repeatable. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments down below. If you like them or not, let me know down in the comments below. But that's my number one feedback to the devs is please make the mixers repeatable. I'm going to definitely share it with them on the Discord. Maybe they'll see this video. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's a long enough talk about just the mixers. Let's move on to the next thing. Additional defensive resources. So we already know about the explosive burr trap. I did not test that out, but seeing how they're working, I probably wouldn't use that. I maybe use them near the mixers where if I'm not building anything, but I definitely would not use them near my own base where they're going to blow things up. I was absolutely surprised when I jumped into the custom game mode and saw that they had pebblet turrets and pollen turrets. I was not able to unlock them currently in my main survival world. Someone did mention they think you get them after turning in the 4 Burgle super chips, or you can buy them. So I'll have to see if that happens after I'm able to get through the rest of the labs. I only did the hedge lab today. So those were awesome. I did test out the pebblet one, and it did pretty good. It was one-shotting some of the smaller bugs. So definitely interested in trying those out. I think those will be cool, especially if your base gets attacked by mosquitoes or bees, shooting those down out of the air, because there's no way you're going to be able to kill like 5 or 10 mosquitoes if they're flying at you by using a weapon or even a bow. One new mutation was the guard dog. That's the one you get from completing the mixer. I didn't equip it, so I'll have to try that out later on. I'm cool with that. Creature cards, you get these by using your peeper on different insects. I thought this was a pretty cool addition. It gives you the information that I was looking for. It's basically giving you the insectopedia or whatever. Peeping the insect, whether it's alive or dead, will give you its strengths and weaknesses. So what kind of weapons to use against it, what kind of weapons not to use, what kind of upgrades in terms of the upgrade pass to use against it, and which ones not to. Definitely think that's good. That's going to help people out instead of having to do what I did back months ago, which was last year, when I just sat there for days on end, dozens and dozens of hours, just testing every weapon combination with every upgrade against different bugs. And that was before you could actually just fast upgrade them in survival or creative. So it took a lot of time. So I'm glad they added that. Next up is armor upgrading and adjustments. This is another one that I'm kind of like 50-50 on. I like the fact that they added armor upgrades. As of right now, and I'm going to do a little bit more looking into it, I think the cost of upgrading armor is way too high, to be completely honest. It's basically equivalent to how you're upgrading weapons, but in this case, if you're doing a full armor set, when you're upgrading a weapon, like let's say you're upgrading the Antlion Greatsword, it required like 62 quartzite and then whatever it was for the globs and then the jewels, but it's one weapon. If you want to upgrade an entire armor set, it requires, I think it's 186 grub plates just for the first 5 levels. And then levels 6 and 7 require the berry leather plates, and then levels 8 and 9 require the pupil leather plates. But the way it works is the berry leather plates require you to use grub leather plates, and then the pupil leather plates require you to use berry leather plates. So it's kind of like compounding on top of each other. I think when I did the math, it was something like you needed 92 grub plates just to upgrade one of the armor pieces, which means you're going to end up needing something like, was that 276 grub plates to upgrade one set of armor. And that to me is just way too expensive, because grubs are not, like, there's no easy way to farm grubs. I have tons of berries. Like, I'm literally sitting on stacks and stacks of berries that I can make into berry plates, but I don't have the grubs to make them. So you're going to need a ton of grubs. You're also going to have to go out and do a lot of farming for sap. So set up your sap collectors. because you're gonna need tons of sap to make the grub leather plates. So hopefully they look at the balancing on that and they just work on. I think it's too expensive, especially since there's 3 armor pieces for a set. I think they need to reduce the cost or reduce the crafting cost. Maybe not use the grub leather plate and the berry leather plate and the pupa, something like that. These formulas here, I don't know what DT means. I don't know if I missed it somewhere, but they're basically saying like the armors have been changed. I did feel like, and we'll get to this later when we talk about the bug damage, I felt like I was taking way more damage than before. I did do the hedge lab, and I almost died in the hedge lab, despite the fact that I've done everything in the game before this update. I almost died in the hedge lab to an Ore Weaver Jr. It literally almost two-shot me with a full set of spider armor. My spider armor helmet was leveled up to level 7. The other pieces were only level 1, so I didn't have full like leveled up armor, or it was level 6 helmet. But I almost got two-shot from full health. It was crazy. So I'm gonna have to do a lot more testing on the armor and see what I think about that. But I definitely think the upgrade costs need to be reduced a little bit, maybe even a lot. Maybe upgrading like the full set at one time or something. Maybe just reduce it by a third or something like that, so that it costs the same as upgrading a weapon would be the same cost of upgrading like an entire armor set, something like that. I would do something like that just to make it cheaper. And the other thing was going to be that the armor upgrades, I didn't test them all out, but I did go into creative and upgraded all the different armors to see what the set bonuses were. There's a couple that are decent. I'm going to test them out, obviously, to see which ones I think are actually really good. Some of them are just outright, like, completely pointless. I don't see the point of them, and I'll get to that. I'm going to do a whole separate video on that. I hope they rework some of those because, to be completely honest, like, for example, this spider armor, I thought spider armor was either going to give movement speed or was going to give something to do with stamina. Instead, it gives you a chance to have poison on your attacks, and it's like, I don't want that. I can use the Mother Demon helmet to get that, so I didn't really like that. It did benefit me one time, though, because I shot a scarab. They nerfed the marksman's cap, so the marksman cap now I think it needs to be like level 6. It needs to be level 6 before it even does any extra damage. So we're going to have to figure out what the minimum level of marksman cap is in order to be able to one-shot a scarab, because I shot a scarab and it took it down to a sliver of health with my normal setup. Unfortunately, the poison killed it, so it did benefit me in that case. But anyway, I'm going to have to do some more looking at the armor. The armor upgrade costs are too high, and I think some of the bonuses are okay, but a lot of them are kind of like underwhelming, and I think they could use a rework or a buff. Next up is going to be weak points. This was weak points. Basically, each bug has a different weak point, so that's going to be shown on the cards you get. When you scan the cards, when you scan the bugs with the peeper or look at it with the peeper, you're going to get the card unlocked. You can also, by killing bugs, have a chance of getting a gold version of the card. In the 5 hours I played, I didn't kill a ton of bugs, but I killed a lot of ants. It took me about 60 red ants before I got the gold worker ant card. And basically, it's just a collectible, nothing special. It's basically just a collectible. It doesn't give you anything special. I think they said maybe after we get all of them, they're going to give us we might get some kind of achievement or something like that. So you are incentivized to do that. You can change the difficulties. I did check this out. I started a custom game. I went in. I was able to change most of the settings. There's a couple you can't change, which were the all recipes unlocked, the bug spawns, and the quest. I'm cool with this. So you can just go in and toggle things on and off in custom games. Like if you feel like the stamina is not like, if you're not liking the stamina, you can change it. Like this is a good change overall. Moving down to the ASL terminal. So basically the field stations have the computer on there. You can access Burgle from there. It doesn't look like you can, the only thing you really need to go to Burgle now for is to turn in the chips. Everything else seems to be done through the computers, and I'm perfectly fine with this. That means I can get quests and turn things in without having to go to Burgle. So I'm cool with that. I like this change. It's going to make, like, just traveling back and forth to Burgle was just kind of time consuming and felt kind of pointless. Changing your names of your save game and storage, both awesome additions. I like that. Additional features. Take off from the sap collectors. Guess what? You're going to need a ton of sap to upgrade your armor. So I recommend setting up a bunch of sap collectors. This is definitely cool. Instead of having to pick out 5 or 6 of them at a time, you just hold down the take button and it gives you all of them. That's a cool update. These other things, I don't care about the second one. Various bugs jump. So I did see which bugs jumped to me. Actually, most of the bugs seemed to jump. The ants were jumping at me. The larva jumped on top of a field station. So I had a ladybird larva jump on top of his field station after me. So that kind of shocked me. Didn't fight any wolf spiders. I didn't really see any wandering around. So not sure how much they're going to jump. New crafting content. The charcoal canteen, I did make that. That's pretty cool. It lets you carry 5 water or 5 of a liquid instead of 4. You can also just pick up dirty water, so I like that. I do think it might make sense for it to, instead of carrying 5, to carry 6, because I think the first canteen carries 2, the canteen plus carries 4, so maybe make the charcoal carry 6, but 5's okay because you can just scoop up anything. Charcoal torch lights up a bigger area, and it's also repairable. I don't even think I crafted this because I forgot to craft it, but I did see it in action during the dev live stream, so I'm definitely happy with that. Story quest and revisions. Basically, no matter what, you are going to either, whether you start over or you just continue your save, whether it's during the public test server or it sounds like after it goes live, the update goes live, you're going to have to go back and do all the labs over again. I'm not exactly sure why they did this because, to be completely honest, I did Burgle's lab. They did change the way that looks a little bit. They took the puzzle out, the computer puzzle, which wasn't a big deal. But I did the Burgle lab, and then the Hedge lab. The only difference in the Hedge lab was there was a different version of the Taze teas called, what are they called, Raz teas or something like that. So I think they're Ruz teas. So basically they were just like a weaker version of the Taze teas. So that was pretty cool, but the Hedge lab was exactly the same except for that little bit right there. And it was much harder than it should have been, to be completely honest. At the stage I am in the game, I was walking around with a level 7 or 8 Antlion Greatsword, my Crow crossbow, a little bit of my upgraded armor, and I was getting wrecked by the Orb Weaver Juniors. I think I only fought one Orb Weaver outside of it, and it was a tough process. So I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I guess at some point everybody's going to play through the game again anyway. I didn't really so far, and I have to play the more labs to see if it actually makes sense. But like redoing the Hedge lab just didn't seem like there was any point to it other than me just doing it. So it is what it is. We have to do all the story quests again. That's just how they're doing it. So you'll have to deal with that whether you like it or not. Next up, we have some changes in tuning. Anything in here that makes sense? Well, I can say this one. The player will respawn at the nearest discovered field station. So when you restart the game, you're going to have to set your spawn point. I did not do that because it restarts you back at the starting spawn area. I did die one time because mosquitoes were like... I had 2 mosquitoes and an Orb Weaver chasing me over by the pond. I was jumping around on the plant, and the mosquito literally, like, I saw it phase through a leaf and just sting me multiple times. And I was like, so I died there. And I did end up spawning at the field station. It was literally right next to it, so it worked out for me. The Billy Hog stuff, I did not harvest any of those, so I'm not sure about that. Minor stamina rework. Exhausted state lasts 3 seconds. Cannot perform any actions ever. I didn't really notice much. The stamina didn't seem like it was a big deal, to be completely honest. So I can't say anything. Stamina, I did a couple times I ran out of stamina, but it didn't seem like it was a big deal. Mutation. So Mithridatism now has 3 stages. Now, the way this is going to work is if you've already killed a bunch of wolf spiders, you're going to start off with stage 1 when you load in. As soon as you kill one more wolf spider, if you've already killed a bunch of them before, it's going to automatically unlock stage 2 and 3. So like I killed a single wolf spider and I got stage 3. Now, they said they fixed the bug AI. You can go back and watch the replay of my stream. I fully cheesed the wolf spider that's under the leaf by the oak tree. I stood by the leaf, I used my bow, and I just sat there and didn't even barely move, and I killed it, and it died, never even jumped up after me. So I'm sure it can get up there if you like let it get up there, but the way I was standing, the way I always do it, worked. So I was able to fully cheese the wolf spider, and I was able to also fully cheese some other bugs in the game as well. I fully cheesed the green shield bug. The green shield bug, when I went down to where it spawns, normally it's walking around. It was standing on top of the cap gun, which is where I normally stand to shoot it. Now I assumed it can jump, so it would probably jump on the cap gun. So instead, I just stood on the bag of fertilizer and I just sat there with my bow and I shot it like 10 times and it died. And obviously, it can't jump on top of the fertilizer bag because that's a huge jump. So you can still 100% cheese, I think, most of the bugs. I did see a ladybug jump up, but it took her quite a while to jump up where I was. So they've done a little bit of work on the AI. The bugs can jump some of them, but you can still cheese things. I'm pretty sure you could probably cheese anything, honestly, still. So they need to fix that still. Lil Fist did not even touch this. This thing it looks like it got buffed a little bit, so it can like what does it say? 25% chance one hit to gain a damage up buff of unarmored attack, stacks or unarmored attack, stacks an unlimited amount of times. I'm gonna test this out obviously at some point, but like I still, even with this, I can't imagine this is gonna be useful, especially when you're fighting, because you're gonna be taking more damage. The bugs just do more damage. Reliable friend buffed. Cardio fan now decreases exhaustion time on top of its previous effects. I will test Cardio fan out before. It was definitely completely useless in my opinion. I know some people disagree with me, but my testing showed that it was absolutely useless. So this might make it useful again. Reliable friend might be useful if you're playing multiplayer. Daredevil now decreases fall damage by 50% and prevents dying from falling in almost all situations. That's a good upgrade. I still don't think anybody's ever going to use Daredevil. It doesn't really serve any purpose. Zipline moves and accelerated increase. It did not even touch that. So I'll mess with ziplines in one of my worlds just to see how that works. The rest of this stuff, one new combat track. There was new music up by if you stand next to the shed door, there was a little bit of music. There was also music in the newer part of the backyard that they updated. that they updated the terraforming, which I'll show in just a minute, but they didn't actually do any, there's no bugs there, but it did seem that, I think it had new music. Combat, all creatures have had a damage pass. I think everybody's going to kind of, you're going to have to let me know what you think about this. I think the bugs are doing too much damage, because I think what they basically did was, it seemed like they increased the damage of the bugs while also decreasing the damage of the armor. I cannot 100% confirm the armor. I can only tell you from basically my experience, walking around with like level 0 armor, you are going to get shredded by pretty much, like, the mosquitoes literally were shredding me. Like, a mosquito was 2 or 3 hits with a mosquito with my full armor of spider armor was taking me down like no health and was almost dying. So the bugs are doing more damage. The armor, I can't say for sure. I'm gonna have to compare it whether or not it's doing as much damage resistance, but it feels like it's not. Bugs AI has been changed. I didn't really notice any of that. It probably, I mean, I guess obviously it has, but I don't know. Stamina cost for swing all weapons is halved, so you're going to be able to swing your weapons twice as much, it seems like, I guess, depending on your armor. They changed daggers, so daggers can't chop down grass. They can only chop down eel grass. Creatures are better able to navigate. That's questionable, because they weren't getting stuck as much, but like I said, you can fully cheese that wolf spider under the leaf. I didn't do anything with pets today, so I mean, these are good changes for the pets if you like pets. They take 3 times as longer to get unhappy. If you put a helmet on them, it takes 50% slower. So that means you're going to be able to keep a pet for a long time. Interfaces, was there anything in here? The big one here was going to be the take all option. Well, I don't even, actually not even here. You could do take all from the sap collector, so that was decent. The rest of these things, nah, I mean, I'm not going to go through all these. You can check these out. I'll leave a link for this down in the description below. Zipline anchors can be relocated. That's decent. I'm just looking to see if any of these are... Oh, here's a huge one, which I was kind of shocked. Players may run while relocating buildings. They said multiple times, the developer said multiple times, they had no plans of allowing us to run while moving things. You can now run while moving a pallet or anything else, which means you're going to be able to get around much faster instead of having to walk back and forth with pallets. That is a massive change, a huge quality of life change. I'm happy they did that, especially for the people who like to build. There's some building pieces here, nothing major here. It looks like things are fitting together better. Improved CPU performance while playing the game. My game did run pretty well. I had a little bit of slow hitching at the beginning, but after that I had no issues. In 5+ hours, I personally had 0 crashes. I did have a bunch of people telling me they were crashing, especially on Xbox, that they were crashing, especially for some reason when they were, what was it, doing the peeper thing and scanning the bees. For some reason, they were like repeatedly crashing. Did not happen to me. Also, I heard people saying that on Xbox, they were getting randomly attacked by like every single bug in the game. Like somebody came in and was like, don't kill any red ants. They're just going to all start attacking you. That did not happen to me, but I'm playing on PC. I was playing through the Game Pass version on PC, though. Landscape outside of the yard is no longer an empty void. I'm going to show you the upper yard in just a minute. Dust mites are now significantly less tanky. I didn't fight any dust mites, but that's a good change because the dust mites were definitely way too much of a pain in the butt to fight for the little bit of resources you get from them. Anything else in here? Roasted meat now restores health. That's a good change. Then there's a bunch of bug fixes here, so I'm not going to read through all these. Like I said, I will leave the link for this down in the description below. But that's my thoughts right now. What I want to do is I want to hop over, because there is one, the terraforming they did in the upper yard is amazing. So let's jump into the game just for a second so I can show you that. And then I'll give my final thoughts on the update, or my first impressions of my final thoughts on the first impressions of after playing 5 hours. So let's hop into the game real quick. All right, so let's take a quick look at some of the things that changed in the actual map. So this is a custom game that I just started. And basically what they did was they took away the beehive, but they put a honey pot up on top of the picnic table. Now, as of right now, unfortunately, the honey pot doesn't have honey in it, or you can't get it. Hopefully you can get it in the future. I did go up there. As you can see, I built myself up there. I think you can fall, somebody said you can fall inside the honey pot, but if you fall in, you can't get out. So hopefully at some point they allow us to get honey from this, because that'd be pretty cool if we could use a honey trap or something like that. But that's definitely a decent addition. And then let's head on up to the top, or the upper yard real quick. And actually, did I see it over? We'll head up to the upper yard where we can see everything else. The upper yard over here is absolutely amazing. Like, I was blown away by the terraforming. So let me skip ahead real quick until I get up there. So one thing you're going to notice when you're playing back through the game is everything's been reset in terms of like things that like world changing things. Like as an example, the labs are going to have to be redone. All the doors are going to be locked. So you're going to have to go through and do them all over again. On your way up to up here, for example, the rock that you blow up to get up here, you're going to have to re-blow that up. So make sure you are equipped with the explosives, the brat burst or the splat burst, especially when you're going through like the black ant lab, where you're going to have to blow up a bunch of rocks. You're going to need it for coming up here as well. So definitely recommend doing that. I am coming over here. I wanted to show that they did end up putting something over here, this little area that was blocked off. We're going to see, I think the mixer's over here for this part of the yard. Hopefully it's sitting over here. Yeah, it's over there in the corner. So this area that was roped or taped off before now has a mixer. So we'll show you what the mixers look like. And this is what the mixers look like now. They are around the map. So there's this one here. There is the one that there's one over here. This is the one I completed during my stream. That's the only one I've done. There's one in the sandbox that's over here on the left. There is one that's in the hedge. I think the one in the hedge is back in the corner here. And then I don't know where the other one is. There's 5, so I can't remember exactly where. I haven't found the other one yet. So there is another one that I haven't found yet. But basically, you'll notice that except for the first one down here is kind of in the open. This one over here is in a corner, and the one over here is like on a ledge or something like that. So it should be pretty easy to defend it. This one's back in a corner, so the bugs can really only come from one direction. But this is the mixer, and like I said, I really hope that they make these things repeatable, because right now they're only a one-time thing. And like I said, I don't care what the rewards are, but I don't want to use it to farm raw science, but I do want to do them over and over again. So other than that, there were some changes up here. They did add, actually, as I was wandering through the yard, I didn't explore the entire backyard, but there was at least one cave that they added in the grasslands area. It was just like over by the bombardier beetles, I think by the flat rock near the pond. And it didn't, oh geez, I forgot I was in, uh-oh. I'm gonna die from sizzle. I forgot that I custom mode, I don't have damage turned off. Although I can turn that off. Let's just show that real quick. So we can go into options. We can go into, oh no, that's not here. Where is it? Options. Custom game options. Do we have player damage off? There we go. Accept, done. So we'll just show that in action. So I should hopefully be able to run through here without taking damage. If not, I'm just going to die and have to respawn. Nope, am I still sizzling, or am I not taking damage? Okay, it's showing the sizzling effect, but I'm not actually taking damage. So as you can see, the custom game modes do change, or the custom settings do update. So what I want to do real quick is I'm going to head over here. Up in the upper yard area, I didn't notice anything except for, and I'll show it when I get up there, the parts of the shed area. The shed looks a little bit different. There's a little bit, there's touch-ups here and there. I think there's probably stuff that's just like not Easter eggs, but things that are just probably around the map that were changed that just I haven't discovered yet. So I'm definitely going to spend a bunch more time on here. So let me skip ahead while I get up on top of the upper yard here. All right, in the interest of time, I'm not going to run all the way up on top of the shed, but basically everything up there was the same except for a couple things that were on top of this table here. So the ashtray that used to have nail clipping in it, there were no nail clippings. There was just a nail. There was a book up there with candy corn on it. I remember there being candy corn during Halloween, but there's definitely candy corn up there now. Not sure if that respawns. So that little bit of the area up there changed. The other thing that changed, and we'll see this as we run over this way, is we're going to run through the tape here. The baseball bat looks much better now. It looks like a actual baseball bat. This is where you're going to see, well, I don't know, this stuff was all here, right? So this stuff was all populated. But as we go through here, this was the part that just amazed me, was the terraforming that was done over here. And what I'll do is I'll just walk through party here. I'm not going to walk through the whole thing. The baseball bat, as you can see, looks like an actual wooden bat now. So that changed. But let's just walk up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get to a spot and we'll just go up. And I'll let you explore this for yourself. As of right now, there's no bugs in this, but it looks amazing. The terraforming over here is awesome. So we'll just get a bird's eye view real quick and fly ourselves up just to show you how much they actually did up here. So none of this had grass in it before. Before it was kind of just over here. So as you can see, there's now a baseball over here. The rock is no longer next to here. So to get up here, you have to go all the way back. You're going to notice there's a brick wall around the back instead of the concrete wall. And this isn't they honestly did not populate a lot of this yard right here, but what they've done is just absolutely amazing. If you wander through here, this when I walked through here, I was like, this is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. The rest of the game kind of feels like it, but this just with all the different canyons and stuff like that, this just feels like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. This is just awesome. There's new plants over here. They're not right here, but there's other plants over here that look different. The shapes of them, as you can see, the grass there has different shapes to it. There's just all kinds. This is just really cool. So I would definitely recommend spending some time over here, even though there's nothing in here. It's just a kind of an idea of what's to come. And as you can see, like I said, it's not a huge part of the map, but it is. This is a lot of work up here. This part of the map is going to make just wandering through this little part made the map feel so much bigger. So when they actually end up populating the rest of the yard up here, because it's only a fraction of it's over to here, The rest of this is all just still dirt. Once they end up populating this whole thing, the map's just going to feel like it's twice as big. And to be completely honest, actually, here's one of the plants right here. You can see this. There were also clovers with flowers on top of them over by the deck over there that I had not seen before. So you got pipes in here. You can go through this pipe. This pipe takes you all the way down. Actually, I'm not sure if it's that one. There is a pipe that takes you up to like part of the other yard over here. So this terraforming here is awesome, and I just can't wait to see what they're going to do over here. With all this work done, I'm pretty sure they're probably not going to put stuff in this update, but maybe they will, maybe they'll surprise us. But the fact that all this is done leads me to believe that the next update after this could come much sooner than this past update. And here's another cave I didn't even see before. I wonder if we can get in there. No, but there's just so much over here. So anyway, I know I talked for a long time in this video. I just wanted to give my first impressions. Like I said in a video a couple weeks ago, I'm not going to be doing any guide videos during the public test server because I want to test things out extensively. I want to make sure that everything is finalized before I put guides out. With the Into the Wood public test server and the Hot and Hazy, I was putting out guides. I know other people were putting out guides. And what ends up happening is things change during that time. So it ends up just being like things are going to change. So I'm not going to do anything like that. I just wanted to get this first impressions. I'll probably just play the game for the next couple weeks and maybe do some more videos like this if you're interested in watching them, where I kind of get feedback on what I like, what I would change. And that's just it. So I think it's one of the better updates. If they make the mixers repeatable, I will love this update. So hopefully, devs, if you're listening, please make the mixers repeatable. And at the very least, make them repeatable. And at the very best, make them have like different levels, like tiers 1 through 10 or something like that, or 1 through 20, where you can play them over and over again. And each tier gives you better rewards. Make it something besides raw science. It doesn't matter what it is. Make it things for upgrading our weapons. Make it special weapons. Make it some kind of collectible. I don't care what it is. Just give people a reason to do it. And like I said, at the very least, if we can repeat them, I'll play them over and over again just to figure out what the best way to do them is. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I know I talked for a long time. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out and consider subscribing if you like more grounded, if you want to see more grounded videos in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.